All right, dudes, you got the Feral Bachelor here. And, I want to tell you, I started really watching a lot of YouTube uh, uh, just under 2 years ago, maybe about 20, 21 months ago. And I found a lot of interest and connection in these, what I label as men's channels. So that goes under mgtow, the men going their own way, and any issues related to men that discussed uh, disasters in relationships, being taken advantage of, lied to, cheated, and then men that have gone through or are going through the divorce courts. And as things have evolved and I've spent more time, I guess, it'd be on YouTube, I see a lot more men that are doing what I think I have to label as selfie therapy. I used to make fun of girls because girls would sit in their cars and talk to their phones. Sit in their cars and talk to their phones. They didn't have any girlfriends to talk to, and they just wanted to go out on social media, pretty much talking to themselves. Talking to the phone is what it is. But now, there is this very big trend of men talking to the camera. And this is seems to be really growing and expanding on YouTube. Now, I'm sitting here talking to a camera today, so I guess I joined the bunch like that. But one of the issues that has prompted me to want to come out, so to speak, is that the more and more I'm seeing men, and these are men of different ages, but men in their 30s to 50s, a lot of them, and there's a lot of woman hating, I guess you'd say. And there's a lot of really thirsty guys that are yearning for relationships. Guys who have not been in a relationship or have not had a relationship in a long time or feel like they don't get the attention they would like to receive from the opposite gender. And I understand that. And I've watched hours of it. And some of it I find entertaining. I find it interesting. But there's a difference also with the older guys. They're much more calm and much more focused on being the contentment that comes with a life of bachelorhood. A life of, I'd say, complete solitude. Solitude is a good word, but it's more a life of freedom where a man without a partner in the same home, someone that's there when he goes to bed and there when he wakes up, and a part of every minute of his day and every decision he makes, every plan he may have, every dream he may inspire to, you've got that person there. And when you are in a relationship like that, you have to consider the other person. You have to include the other person. And that's normal. That's natural. Talking about these older men who are preaching about their happiness in solitude and the freedom of being a bachelor at that age in your 40s, 50s, 60s. I understand that. I fall into that category. Looking at the younger men who are out there struggling, and they're struggling and they are complaining and whining and yearning and pining because they feel like they are missing out. Women have changed. The feminine movement, that's a big thing that's talked about. Things are not the same. The way things once were in relationships, traditional relationships, that is receding into the past. What we're seeing now is people, men and women, that are remaining single much longer. And some of these guys in their 30s, 40s, even their late 20s, maybe, they are really pining, really yearning, really eager to have. Hold on, I got a scratch. These guys who. All right, well, let me see. Here's the way I differentiate between these two groups of guys I'm talking about. The older guys who are sharing and preaching about the comfort, the freedom, the success of being a middle-aged or older man who has that freedom, who is not tied down, who makes his own decisions, his own plans his own vacations, sits in his own house, makes his own decision, makes his own meals, doesn't have to consider anyone else's opinion or complaints or their problems. He can just deal with his own problems. The big difference between these older guys and the younger guys who are wanting to have a relationship, wanting to have a woman in their life, wanting to have children, the difference is that they have not done that, and they feel like they are longing for what they believe to be this wonderful tradition. This is a classic example of wanting what you don't have. The grass is always greener. The guys who have not found women to be the way they were portrayed in movies and fairy tales and Disney classics and all that stuff. The feminine movement, the feminist movement that has sent women out there doing their own thing and doing it hard and long and frequently, has really taken away the beauty of womanhood. And it's taken away these virtuous young ladies that men would like to pair up with and make a solid, long-term, lasting, committed relationship. I understand that guys want that, but it's a fantasy. Plain and simple, it is a fantasy. I think a valuable thing would be for some of these younger guys to get together, and it can be on camera, on the phone, to shoot a video with one of us older gents who's got the experience. As I was about to say, the difference between these two groups is that the younger guys are longing and pining and yearning for a relationship with a loyal, dedicated, virtuous young woman. Us older guys, we tried the relationship. We tried the marriage. Some guys have tried it multiple times, but it just doesn't work out. There's not a real this compatibility, particularly with the strong cultural influences we have these days. The horrible imbalance that we see in family courts. There is now, in our modern times, there is not a benefit. I can't think of a benefit for men to get into marriage. It's all negative. It's all liability. Women connect and receive an asset or access to it. It's an asset. It's an asset because it's resources, it's protection, it's care. And then you've got the state that protects them, where if something happens, they can be awarded a considerable amount, half or more than half of the gentleman's property. And the way the more than half comes in is if he has to continue paying her in the future. If he has to pay her in the future for not being there to maintain her standard of life. What a ridiculous thing. Especially if she brought nothing into the marriage. But that's going to be another time to talk about that. My focus at this point is simply to draw that line to differentiate, compare these two groups. And the older gentlemen have experienced this stuff. They have experienced relationships. They've experienced marriage. They've experienced the disaster, the failure, the woman leaving, and the divorce process, and the way that alters your life in many ways, physically, mentally, financially, and it can go on for a long time. It can go on, the damages can last much longer than the marriage, or they can last the rest of your life. So it's a serious thing. These younger guys are longing for a fantasy relationship, something that doesn't exist or very rarely exists. I remember I used to, because of my own life experiences, which I'll give a little more detail later, but I was married and divorced, been single for a long time since. But that's the short version. I can recall that I used to get really bothered when I saw a happy couple. And it was because that had not been my experience. And I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I didn't try to break them up or put them down. But I realized that my own thoughts and feelings were, I guess, that would have to be jealousy, because it had worked out for someone. But the truth is, it doesn't work out most of the time. And a lot of guys will give it multiple shots. I did it once. I married once, was married for a while, got out of that one, and have no desire to go back. I don't like to say that I never will, but it's not a goal of mine. It's not a goal. It's not something I'm looking for. If that right person came along and blew my mind and blew up my world, and so to speak, I mean, by blow it up, I mean made my world bigger and better, not blow up as in destroy. Maybe after a very long time together, I might take that step. But it's not on the table from the get-go. It's not something I'm looking for. It's not a void that I feel like I have to fill. No. I'm very comfortable. I'm very happy in my bachelorhood. I am the Feral Bachelor. And I've been single for a long time. So that's where the feral part comes in. I have ladies sometimes that will talk about the relationship, long-term partnership, marriage. And I explained to them it would be one heck of a job for a girl to come in and try to tame me at this point. I'm set in my ways. I have been sleeping alone in my bed for a long time, and I don't want to share my bed for sleeping. If I have a lady come over, spend some time, that's okay. But not overnight. And not, I need my space. I need my comfort. I need my room to sleep. So, sounds boring, but that's just one of the things that I find very comforting is my own space in my own house. Okay, well, I've rambled on a little bit. I got a lot of other stuff I want to share with you, but right now I'm going to close this out because my point here was just to show the difference between, a lot of it is separated by age, but it's just because the true separation is by experience. Guys who have tried the marriage thing and it failed, some have tried multiple times, they are the ones that are able to recognize and value the solitude, the peace that comes from bachelorhood. The young guys who have not done that yet, long for it. They long for something that is very, very hard to find. And it's a lot to go through to experience that. I'd like to see people happy and like to see people find things they want. But these guys need to understand that it's a hard road with a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of loss. If you focus on yourself, you can have a darn good life. I've had a pretty good life. I know I've had a good life. I'm happy with my life. I've had ups and downs. I've had ins and outs. More outs than ins, I guess. Haha. But yeah. All right. I am really going to go this time, and I'll catch up with you later and give you some more insight on my background, my experiences, my tragic tales, and all that fun stuff. All right, fellas. Feral Bachelor's going to sign off now. Oink, oink. Take it easy.